Hey guys, I'm Anushka Raj and welcome back to my channel. So guys, today's story is The Great Truth. So let's begin it. The Great Truth. This is the story of a German traveler who arrived at a great truth just by error. Once during the course of his travels, this gentleman arrived at Amsterdam, which is a very beautiful city and a big seaport of Netherlands. The man went round the city and was deeply impressed by its big, beautiful buildings. He saw a house larger and more beautiful than any he had ever seen all his life. "Excuse me, sir," he said to a passerby. "Can you tell me the name of the gentleman who owns this large and beautiful house?" But the man was probably in a hurry. Moreover, he understood as little German as the questioner did Dutch. In reply to the traveller's question, he only said, "Kinemaster," and went away. Now, Kinemaster is a Dutch word which means "I can't understand you," but the traveller thought it was the name of the person who owned that marvelous building. "He must be a very rich man, that Mr. Kinemaster," said the German traveller to himself and walked away. Walking through the big white streets of the town, he came at last to the harbour. There he saw a large merchant ship that was being unloaded. The cargo consisted of all kinds of wares from distant lands. "Can you tell me the name of the person for whom the ship has brought all these wares?" the German traveller asked a man who was carrying a crate on his shoulder. "Kinemaster," was the answer. The German traveller thought, if the ship's being Mr. Kinemaster such riches, it is no wonder that he has built for himself that splendid house. So he went away sorrowfully, thinking how poor a man he was among such rich people in the world. "Oh, that I were as rich as this Mr. Kinemaster," he sighed to himself. Just then he saw in the street a grand funeral procession. White horses were pulling a black hearse majestically. A large number of relatives and friends of the dead man followed silently. The German traveller took off his hat and bowed his head in respect. He kept standing at one side till the last one in the procession had passed by him. He stopped this last mourner and said to him in a low voice, "Excuse me, sir, this dead man must have been a very popular person. Who was he?" Again, "Kinemaster," was the answer. A few large tears rolled down the German traveller's cheeks. There was a strange look of sadness and comfort on his face. "Poor Kinemaster," he exclaimed, "of all your riches, now what remains with you? You have received from your wealth only as much as I shall receive from my poverty. A 2-meter linen shroud, nothing more than that." With these thoughts, he walked along with the funeral procession and thought he belonged to the household of that person. And in the chemistry, he saw poor Mr. Kinemaster being lowered in his final resting place. After the funeral was over, the German traveller left with the others. He went back home with a light heart. The thoughts of riches or poverty hardly ever troubled him now. Whenever his heart became heavy to see what he was poor while many others were so rich, he would only think of Mr. Kinemaster of Amsterdam, of his big house, his huge ships, his 2-meter linen shroud, and his narrow grave, and then his heart would be at peace again.